Hello, good evening and welcome back. Quaden Bayles, Australian boy in bullying video, receives global support. And of course, you can't really blame the boy for how he responds, given that people are mainly conditioned, and perhaps you can't even blame the bullies for how they acted, seeing as children are predominantly conditioned by their family, up until 4, of course, and then they have the more social integration, at which point they are conditioned more so by their peers, and they have their development from that. But given that we seem to live in a great victimhood culture, of course he appeals to that, and his mother as well, as it is his mother who popularised a video of him complaining and saying that he wished to kill himself. And a particularly pertinent bit in that, which for whatever reason the BBC doesn't wish to mention, they make no mention of his father either, make their own conclusions that I honestly don't know, but the bit in the video that he mentions, having seen it myself but the BBC doesn't say, is him saying to his mother that she doesn't do anything to help. And of course, most people think, oh, this poor boy, what can we do about it to help stop the bullies from doing that? We should step in. He has an appeal to authority to want other people to do things. Kind of, I mean, his main thing is his mother isn't helping, and she should because he's very young, he's only 9, and that he wants to end his life because his life is shit due to the bullying. Yes, we've all been there. Okay, maybe not all of us, but enough of us have. And if you're a fan of this channel and the sort of things I say, then chances are you've been bullied in the past as well. And yes, of course, it isn't a nice place to be. But seeing as the response has been, hey, those people aren't very nice, and here are some good things so that you feel better, and we'll gift you things to make it all go away. It's basically teaching him, hey, if something goes wrong, yeah, don't deal with it yourself. Don't try and take responsibility for your actions. Maybe think, okay, what have I done to provoke them? And you might call this victim blaming. I don't give a shit if you do, because I think no matter what situation you are in, there are things that you can do about it to make it not as bad and maybe even make it better. Maybe you can actually fix the problem. And this is a slight derailment of Jocko Willink's idea of extreme ownership, or as Les Brown would say, it doesn't matter what happens to you, it matters what you're going to do about it. So by responding to this boy's, I say complaints, but I think that's being a bit harsh, but responding to his sadness filmed by his mother, who's very apathetic in the video, to say, you're going through a tough time, let us give you some things, that is essentially the appealing to authority fallacy. That he isn't actually learning how to defend himself, how to take care of himself, how to work on himself, to better himself, defend himself, improve himself. He isn't learning any of that whatsoever. All he's being told is, yes, if you complain to the right people, they'll do something about it, so you never have to worry about fixing yourself, other people will take care of it for you. And that is a shit line of reasoning for himself and anybody else who might be watching this, because then, So focusing on him, he learns there was nothing he can do to help it. It's all down to luck about other people doing things for him. And what about everybody else who is in a similar position to him, who is feeling pretty shit? What do they learn? And so, oh, okay. They might learn, nobody cares about me because I'm not getting that response. Or they might think, oh, it's all down to luck that maybe somebody else will help me out of it. What they do not learn is the most important thing of pick yourself up. Obviously, this man needs a good role model, this 9-year-old Australian boy. And we can allude as to whether or not his father is present. But this is so poignant, so pertinent for everybody in any aspect of life we are struggling. And Dr. Jordan B. Peterson hammers this home, but not nearly enough, in my opinion, as his time as a clinical psychiatrist, that he would say people would come with their problems. He could fix their problems, and they go away having their problem fixed. They're all happy, jolly good. He doesn't. As tempting as that might be, as annoying as some of the clients might be, that you just want to say, here's your problem fixed, go away, it's all done. Because that is robbing them of developing the tools and their capabilities in order to deal with their own issues. Dealing with a problem in its own is, of course, the most important step in the immediate, but more important than that, what supersedes that for the longer term benefit is being able to deal with these problems when they arise. And that is what a good psychiatrist does. They give you the tools They teach you how to use them in order to then deal with any problem which is similar in nature further on. So they don't just give you a quick fix, but they actually enable you to deal with things in life from then on. The same thing goes for this boy. The same thing goes for anyone who is in a similar position to him. What they need to learn is how to deal with things themselves. They need to be given the tools, they need to be given the capabilities, they need to understand that they have the power to enact change in this world, and they can stop the bad things that are happening to them if they can only muster the courage to do something about it. This is why, of course, personally, I say martial arts is a very important aspect. I'm not suggesting at all the thing should always get to a physical altercation. No, of course not. But it is very important that you have that physical confidence, because chances are, sooner or later, if you're in a high energy situation, especially as a man or a male or a boy, that things will escalate to the physical realm. And because of that, because of your innate instinctive carnal knowledge that things can get physical, if you cannot defend yourself, you will always be nervous about what the other person can do to you. If they look bigger and stronger and menacing, specifically for this gentleman here who suffers from a type of dwarfism, then you need to know that you have the technique to overpower their strength, essentially. So you aren't going to use it, hopefully, but it is there for you to call upon. That means you are that much more confident in yourself and your capability, so that if somebody says something to you verbally, you don't feel so threatened because you know that they can't act on it. So yes, of course, the emotional development must come as well, but I would argue that maybe that should happen at the same time, but otherwise it should happen secondarily to having the physical capability to being able to do something about it. Because that means that, yes, they might say something that offends you, and someone who's inexperienced might decide to start a fight there and then. That will put an end to it, and they'd probably be learning might is right, which is of course the wrong lesson, because there'll always be someone stronger than you. But the point is the discipline and the knowledge that you can then diffuse the situation with words. So you need the physical knowledge as well as the mental knowledge, so that you can use both of them for any attackers you get in order to diffuse the situation. This is also why men happen to be better at humour and comedy than women, because men are in that particular situation and they have to be able to diffuse out of it. So there are two reasons. One is, if they're threatened, chances are the person just wants to make themselves feel better. If you can get them to laugh, get them to feel better in that moment, because that moment is all that matters. When you are in such a high pressure situation, you're not thinking about a 10-year plan of 401k. You're just thinking about the next 30 seconds. And if you can get through them, then maybe you can get through the minute, and then a few minutes, and you can actually get out of the situation. So if you can push them away by getting them to laugh, you can break their state like that, you've got a much better chance of survival. And then the second reason is, of course, that women like a guy with a sense of humour. It shows quick wit and capability, and that you're a cunning linguist, and therefore it's a favourable trait for men to breed, or people to breed, as a selectively hereditary aspect. So Quaden Bayles posted a clip of her son, Quaden, crying after he was targeted at school for his dwarfism. This is what bullying does, she says in the video, in which her son also says he wants to end his life. The clip, viewed over 14 million times, has triggered an outpouring of support. And "We stand with Quaden" messages. Celebrities including actor Hugh Jackman and basketball player Enes Kanter have spoken out, while parents in other countries have shared video messages from their children. Jackman told Quaden, "You are stronger than you know, mate," and called upon everyone to be kind. Yes, not actually doing anything about the situation in hand. Maybe "you're stronger than you know" might help, but unless he knows how to actually use that strength, if you're suggesting he has it. In fact, let's say you're being nice, and I've got nothing against Hugh Jackman personally, but when it comes to matters of a bullied child, that is very personal to me for obvious reasons. So if you're saying you are stronger than you think, let's say you are actually sincere. How the fuck is he going to be able to use that? He isn't. Of course he isn't. If you're not telling him how to be able to use that strength, it makes no fucking difference. Or maybe you're just trying to make him feel better and it's all superficial and you don't believe that at all, and you think, oh, he's a short guy, he deserves sympathy. Then fuck you. So either one. Either you're saying something without seeing how it will actually help, or you're lying. Either way, don't care. And if you think this is harsh, well, either offer some more constructive support or go fuck yourself. Because for anyone who's been through a suicidal situation, then you understand that just those meaningless words of platitude don't mean anything. You actually want a way to be able to get out of your situation. You want to be able to get those tools to drag yourself out of the current predicament that you find yourself in, and just these stupid words don't mean anything to you. So they mention the video, and she's saying, oh, can you please educate your children, your families, your friends, that, oh yeah, children shouldn't be bullying, oh no, we should stop that, yeah, and people shouldn't rape either. How the fuck is that working out for you? Oh, it isn't? Oh, you mean that possible victims need to be able to protect themselves? How about we actually help people do that? And the same thing goes for the zero tolerance on bullying. Does that actually stop bullying? Does it? Fuck, of course it doesn't. What does it do though? It means that these bullies, who are more refined with their approaches, of course, can slip under the radar because they're slowly working their way up. And so the authorities that be, the teachers who aren't paid enough to give the pastoral care that they are required to, because apparently the parents don't do it, they don't see what is going on from the bullies. What does the zero tolerance mean? It means that when the bully victim, the bullied, eventually responds, as they most likely will, they'll either go inwards or outwards, they'll either kill themselves or attack their attackers, then that is seen and that is punished. And for anyone who is reasonably intelligent, and normally the victims are more so, then they know that they can't do anything about it, otherwise they will also be punished, because perhaps they've already tried to retaliate and have been punished for that. So the zero tolerance idea doesn't help whatsoever. It really doesn't. And I'm a firm believer that it is utter shit. I'm not suggesting bullying is good, not in the slightest. As lovely as it is for character development, it may very well do more harm than good. I'm not arguing that case, that is irrelevant. What I am saying is people should be able to defend themselves. Hence, martial arts and self-defense is so bloody important. And the discipline that it develops in young children as well is vital for character development. So do that. If you're worried about your children being bullied, or maybe you are still bullied in a workplace, develop your martial arts skills. That means you can stand up to them, and if they decide to get physical, you can deal with them. It means you can actually speak your mind, you can be confident, and you don't have to worry about what they can do to you, because you know you can floor them. And because you're the more emotionally developed person, you are not going to be the first to land a blow. It just means you're the first to block a blow. So even Eric Trump, the son of US president, joined in. Means nothing. So has anybody actually done anything to help? Oh, well, they've sent him to Disneyland. Wow, isn't that brilliant? No, it means nothing. So they mention US comedian Brad Williams, who has the same dwarfism condition of achondroplasia. It said he has raised more than $130,000 or 100 grand in less than a day to send the family to Disneyland. Wow, the whole family gets to go to Disneyland. What does that show? It shows be a victim, make it public, and you'll get support. Yeah, it doesn't mean earn your way to the top. No, it doesn't. It just means make people feel bad and pity you, and then they'll give you charity. They will never respect you. Keep that in mind. If you're ever going for charity and you want people to give you things because you're making them feel bad and you're guilt-tripping them, never expect them to respect you, because they will not. If you're asking people for charity, you are telling them, either explicitly or implicitly, that they have done better than you and therefore you need their help and cannot do anything for it in return. So never expect people to respect you if you're asking for charity. And the same goes here. When people are giving the money like this, they think, well, my job's done, I must have done a great thing. They're not actually helping the person with the topic in hand. Obviously, money is great, and I'm not going to deny that, not in the slightest. But if you have no skills, then money basically means nothing, because you don't know what you're spending it on, you don't know what you're doing with it, it'll all go, and you won't feel any better for it. And the same goes for people like Eric Thomas, who says, if you took my house, took my homes, took my money, I'd be sad, I'd be annoyed, frustrated, but I would be able to rebuild it. If you took my knowledge, I would end up losing my house, my homes, and my money, and wouldn't be able to rebuild it. Or if you took all the money from a millionaire or billionaire and redistributed it to everybody's pockets, before too long it would all end up in the billionaire's pockets again. Or if you took him out from one place and put him in another, he would still be a millionaire or a billionaire in that country as well, or that place that you put him, because of the skills that are there. It is the knowledge, the experience, the wisdom that is more necessary than the financial incentive, or not the incentive, but the money matter itself. And the same goes for here. If you want to help this person feel more emotionally developed, sure, Disneyland is going to be great, but that ain't going to mean much in the long run. And when he comes back, what, he's going to be bullied even more for running off to somebody else, for being a snitch, if you will. Then they're going to help. And as heartbreaking as it is to say, as Eric Trom might say, that I wouldn't be surprised if this is just as bad, or he kills himself and nobody notices in a few months when he comes back and the bullies are saying he's run off to authority and nothing's actually been done about it. Or maybe the school will just come down heavy-handed and try and do things about the so-called bullies, but not actually understand what is going on, because of course they can't know. And the school is a microcosm of what happens in countries where the teachers don't understand what is going through by the pupils, just as the government doesn't understand what is going through by the denizens, or the citizens, or the voting populace, the constituency of the people in the country. So leave them alone, let them get on with it, and they will work out what works. The same goes here, the same goes for the country. Leave people alone. You don't know what you're doing, you're only going to make it worse. But hey, what do I know? Until next time, keep doing what you're doing. Get stronger every day. Make the strongest version of yourself, and I'll see you next time.